Alright, the Ginger here, and today we're going to be talking about some of the basic things that I think you should know before we start Elden Ring here in a few hours. And all of this information is coming from the Elden Ring wiki, so the link will be down in the description. Make sure you guys check that out. It's a really cool website. The person that's running it seems to be doing a great job. He's keeping it spoiler-free. So if the game hasn't released yet and you guys are watching this, go check it out. You'll find some interesting information. But nonetheless, let's get going. First off is going to be the status effects. The sleep, from what we've seen in their early testings and like all the gameplay that we've seen, the sleep arrows are very strong. And I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't already nerfed them. But if they haven't nerfed them yet, be expected to see them in PvP a lot until they do get fixed. Because I believe it's going to be super strong. And if it is what it has been in the past, like what we saw already, and that's going to be a one-shot down for most enemies and characters, you're going to see this in PvP, and you're going to get criticaled a lot if you get hit with it. So keep that in mind. There are going to be ways to combat it, so it's in the Elden Ring wiki. Make sure you pop in there, look at it. They've got different things that we know figured out so far, but the Hemorrhage Effect, I believe this is going to be more like a serrated weapon side effect, but I'm sure there's going to be spells and different things that's going to do it as well. But it's going to be, you're going to build up a little status bar, and after you fill up the status bar, you're going to take a large amount of damage and maybe some bleeding damage as well. So be careful about that, because the large amounts of damage do usually kill you in these types of games. So keep your health up and try not to build up any status effects while you're playing. But the Madness status effect, this right here is going to lower your FP and give you a little bit of health damage, but the main effect is going to be lowering all of the FP as much as possible. So this might be something that you can utilize while you're doing PvP, or even running through the game, because there are sorcerers and spellcasters in the base game, not just yourself and other players. So this will be a useful effect. It'll be used against you. But the main effect is it's going to be damaging the FP and a little bit of health. Let's move on from there. Poison. I haven't seen much about it, but as we all know what poison does, it's either super strong and OP and everybody hates it, or it's really weak and it really doesn't do much and everybody just ignores it. There's not really much of an in-between for that, but maybe they did something. This game's good so far, so they might have done something nice with that. The Blight effect, I don't know anything about the Blight effect so far, so if you guys know anything, comment down below and let me know. And when we do our future videos, after we figure everything out, we'll definitely give you a shout out for helping us out. Frostbite. This is going to be pretty much the same thing as Madness, but for stamina. It's going to lower your armor rating a little bit as well when it's cast on you. Like when you have Frostbite effect, it's going to lower your armor rating and your stamina and give you a little bit of damage. Nothing too serious, but it's like the Madness effect, but for stamina players. Insta-death is exactly what you think. It's insta-death. You can't really say much about that, but I'm sure it's going to be more of a boss thing and you're not going to see other players using it. Alright guys, next up on the list is going to be the damage types. Pretty simple. Standard damage is going to be your base damage on all of your melee weapons and all of that in your hands or whatever you're using, your club, I don't know. And then strike damage, that's going to be more of your blood-based weapons, kind of like hammers or whatever. It's going to be effective against armored enemies, rocky, brittle creatures, so kind of like those helicopter cock rocks that you guys saw. This will be effective against those. Won't be effective against scaly creatures, so pretty much anything that doesn't have fur. I don't know. So it won't. It's going to be ineffective against scaly creatures. Slash damage, that's going to be like swords and any blade type weapon. Very good against fleshy creatures, unarmored, lightly armored people, heavy armored people, and rocky creatures. So those helicopter cocks, not so strong against them. Keep that in mind, guys, when you're going out there to beat on some rocks for no apparent reason, because you just want to. Pierce damage, this is going to be like your spears and your pole arms and stuff like that. It's going to be good against scaly creatures, light and medium armored enemies. Another thing, it's not going to be strong against heavily armored enemies, so keep that in mind. But like the strike damage, that goes well against all armored enemies, so keep that in mind as well. Magic damage, this is going to be your base magic damage, so your spells and stuff. It's not going to be very good against magic-oriented enemies, so, you know, keep that in mind. Fire damage is going to be one of the elemental damages, so this is going to be good against fleshy creatures, undead, armored enemies. Not very good against heavily armored enemies. I don't know why. I don't know why on that one, but it's not going to be good against draconic creatures or fire-oriented creatures. So pretty much any demon creatures and obviously flame-based creatures. So a good amount of bosses, flame damage isn't going to be good against. Lightning damage, heavily armored enemies, draconic and snake-like creatures. So this will be good against a good amount of your bosses. Keep that in mind. Holy damage, it's going to be effective against the undead. I mean, why wouldn't it be? Honestly, we are going to have more damage types, I'm sure. More in the elemental damage area, not so much the melee damage areas, but I'm not sure which one the bow falls into, so we'll figure that all out. And again, we're going to be updating this when we get more information on it all, so don't you guys worry. If you guys plan on coming back, we will have much more information for you. We're going to be working on glitches. We're going to be working on as much as we can figure out in this game. We're going to have our own little special section for lore. We're going to look into the lore. We're going to do a deep dive into that. So after the first week or so, we'll be looking into a full deep dive of lore after we beat the game. And we're going to go through and just go through every nook and cranny for the first playthrough anyways. So we might even be able to do the full lore set by the end of the first playthrough. So keep that in mind, guys. Also, I've already said it earlier in the video, but liking and commenting on the video really helps more people see this that don't really know what's going on. So help them out, help me out, helps everybody out. Elden Ring is going to be out here shortly, so hopefully you guys make sure you take some time to check me out. Alright, have a good day, guys, and enjoy Elden Ring.